Hey, I'm Damianos. This is Left the Abyss. We can all agree that there's some villainy on the right. The Republican Party exists to prop up the rich, corporations, and industry interests. They are anti-regulation, and they serve the military-industrial complex, pharmaceutical industry, Wall Street, everyone with money. On top of that, they appeal to their base of conservatives, people who are against any and all positive trend in favor of preserving elite power, entwining capitalism with patriotism, and generally promoting an agenda of reversing the bits of progress we've made in the past 50-something years, and go back to a time where many protections and victories for minority communities and social well-being were not yet achieved. They are a vile and corrupt crew, so we have our own side that can combat this evil, right? Oh, the Democratic Party, huh? Great. We all know that the Republican Party is a total disaster, with not a single redeeming factor. They are the main antagonist. But there is another evil. There is another force, which must also be destroyed. They fight against each other. They put on a show of fighting. And they try to convince you that their side is the right side. This competition is an act, a distraction. A friendly competition, as these parties are friends. In reality, they work together more than they compete. This parallel antagonist is the Democratic Party. The more subversive and cunning evil, they may even trick you into thinking that they're on your side. I'm here to tell you they are not on your side. Many of you know this, but this party is one of two ultimate powers in America, so many of you don't know this. I'm just going to lay this out there for those that do not know that the Democratic Party is not the party which will now or ever represent your interests. Whereas the Republican Party is entirely comprised of corrupt corporate shills, the Democratic Party is also comprised of corrupt corporate shills. At least it is led by them. There are plenty of attempts to fill in positions in the party with progressive politicians. Some of them are pretty decent, at least comparatively. You could at least say they're on your side, but they have not yet taken much of any of the power that the corporate Democrats hold. They still control the party. We have not swayed them yet. We are attempting to reach inside them, grab hold of them fundamentally, and take their namesake as ours, but we are not there. We do not know if we will get there. We can try. So how are the Democrats? Similar to the Republicans? I mean, there's much fewer differences to list, so let's try that first. Let's see. The Democrats need to placate liberal America. This is their non-corporate donor base. These are the people they need to buy to get their win. They don't owe these people much. They don't owe them healthcare or welfare or withdraw from war or even representation. But they need to distinguish themselves from their play partner party. So they defer by giving a lot of lip service to social issues. Most people look at politics from a purely social perspective. The social policy is important too, but is intrinsically tied to the economic. They will tell you they support LGBTQ issues because you do. They will say they aren't racist, though this whole BLM thing is getting a bit out of control. They also say they want to help the poor, though they do nothing for the poor. They provide nothing to you. Sure, they won't intentionally tear your rights apart like the Republican Party, but they will not help you. They do not largely support universal health care. They don't want to give you a check to survive. They do not want to stop the wars. They do not want to stop cracking down on protesters. Their vice presidential candidate is a cop, and a very infamous one. ACAB, including her. And the presidential candidate, the one who wanted to cut Social Security, the one who promises to veto universal health care, is also not interested in helping you. We almost had a breakthrough. Bernadette Sanderson helped to pull people to the left, helped show America socialist policies can be mainstream ideas. He is an infiltrator who actually did care to help you. But he's done now. He's been defeated by the establishment and forced to capitulate to them once more in one big Obama-organized coup of every single political candidate dropping out early to endorse Biden. while Bernie was leading. I have my disagreements with Bernie. He's not as left as me for one, though he's definitely left enough for me to actually want to support him. But also he just wasn't angry. He sounded angry when rallying for his huge crowds, when the establishment wasn't in the room. But he would turn around and effectively join in the coup against him by somewhat endorsing Joe Biden himself. He said he was a great guy, his friend, who would be a good president. Your endorsement power was very strong, Bernie, seeing as you were the front-runner. Perhaps, if we had a Bernie who was angry at the establishment themselves, as he was their actions, perhaps, if we had a Bernie who declared Biden his enemy rather than his friend, as Biden is the ultimate representation of corporate Democrat establishment, which Bernie claimed to be hell-bent against, perhaps he could have done better. He was too nice. He let them get away with too much against him. Some will say he didn't have a choice, and that he has to endorse whatever candidate is against Trump, but I wish he'd try to get something out of it first. If you capitulate without any concessions, they do not need to give you any concessions. They didn't. Despite his endorsement, there are no Bernie Sanders policies in Biden's platform. I can't think of a single one. We got nothing out of this. I will try to understand why Bernie did the campaign the way he did, but he didn't win, he lost. There are contributing factors on his end too. He is a very important person to the future of the left, and that can never be overstated. But he was not strong enough as a contender to beat the establishment and all of their power at their electoral game, as he has shown twice now. And each time he has to capitulate to the establishment and act like he didn't just rail against them to the entire nation for the entire year prior, because the alternative is, yes, a worse evil. Any Democrat is going to be better for the people than any Republican, but only because Democrats are content to watch you suffer rather than assault you on top of it. But the differences between Biden and Trump are still so few. Neither want healthcare to be a right. Neither want to cease our wars. Neither want to expand Social Security. Neither want to end police brutality. Neither want to put a moratorium on evictions. Neither want to raise the minimum wage. Neither want to legalize marijuana. Neither want to take any substantial measures to address this plague. Neither care about you in the absolute slightest. Biden believes in global warming, but is in the pocket of industries that profit from a lack of environmental regulation. And Biden is better on masks, and more willing to tax the rich a little bit, maybe. I don't know, there isn't much redeeming about Biden except that yes, he is not Trump. So what can you do in this situation? Well, if you want to vote for Biden, good on you. I won't shame you for this. If I were mortal, I wouldn't participate in the election, where neither candidate is offering me anything. It's supposed to be their job to come to us, to represent us, and make concessions for our votes. And I would like to think that by not engaging in the election until I would get anything I care about, the smallest thing that they will promise to do for the people, that I would be doing the only thing that is in my power to do to actually pull Biden to the left on something. I believe that's the only thing you can do either. But that being said, I still want to see Biden win. Trump is so exhausting and so ridiculously evil. But regardless of whether you're voting, or voting third party, or voting for Biden, I will trust that you came to that conclusion thoughtfully, because we're just so fucked right now that I can't say it really matters very much anyhow. Don't vote or shame. It does not convince people to do as you wish they would. Just accept that either way we've lost for now. Let's keep fighting for the people who are trying to grip the core of the Democratic Party. One day perhaps the power of the party will come from the people. It is possible, but not here yet. Vote for Biden, or don't. The DNC convention had actual Republican speakers. They've always been center-right. Republican light, but now they're really owning it. They think they can win by appealing to more moderate Republicans. They tried this recently, and Trump is president. Biden is managing to fuck up a huge lead during a pandemic that the incumbent has failed to handle. There is about to be a massive housing crisis, and many more are going to die. Because Biden is not offering his base anything to motivate them at all. He is an utter failure of a candidate. You could blame his lack of support on the never Biden lefties, but I tend to blame the fucking candidate for not appealing to huge segments of his base. Literally a majority of Biden's pledge voters stated their support is because he isn't Trump. Biden is pathetically weak. He shouldn't even have to lift a finger to beat Trump in his defeated and desperate state. Yet he is now within the margin of error after having a 14-point lead previously. Maybe if Biden did literally anything for anybody who would ever consider voting for him, he'd be doing a lot better. So don't look at those who don't vote if he loses. Look at the Democratic establishment, which tried the same tactic that failed last time against the same opponent. Top-tier strategy, Dems. Finally, let us remember there are two sides and one coin. Two parties, one ruling class. They are both your enemy. They are both corrupt and evil. The lesser evil must go too. We must one day overcome this evil, since we can almost agree now that regardless, they are both evil. This has been Left the Abyss. Please help us reach a wider audience by liking, commenting, and sharing, and as always, thank you for watching Left the Abyss, mortals. Subscribe! Damn.